Alright, we're ready. Okay, starting off in 3, 2, 1.
You're watching Anime Sundays.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Anime Sundays, the show where we talk about anime, yes, on Sundays, and I am your host, Jared Ross. And today we are back with another great versus debate with my boy, of course, Rob.
How y'all doing?
Yes, Shona Showdown the Great here. You already know we had to lock him in for this very serious debate. We have the Magic Knight Captains versus the Commandments from Seven Deadly Sins and the Magic Knight Captains from Black Clover. So stay tuned.
こいつは魔法帝ユリウス・ノバクロの
俺はメリオダス実界の統率者
Alright, so before we get started in this debate, of course you know we got a few conditions. Number one, a lot of you noticed I didn't say 10 commandments or 10 Magic Knight Captains because we thought it would only be right that we include pretty much everybody who has kind of either been through the position on both sides or is obviously, you know, one of those top ranking officers with their group. Mm-hmm. So we actually have a lineup of 11 cats on each side. We're going to go through the lineup real quick and show you all who we got on Black Clover versus who we got on Seven Deadly. The Black Clover list. In this order, we got Julius, Mereleona, Yami, we got William Vengeance, we got Fuegoleon, we got Nozel, we got Dorothy, we got Jack, Charlette, Rill, and we have Kaiser. So those are our 11 on the Black Clover side. On the Seven Deadly Sin side, since we had Julius, you know we had to have Meliodas. Real quick, we only have 10 Commandment Captain Meliodas, not the manga version. And then of course you have Estarossa, again, not Commandment Absorbed Estarossa. So we got Zeldris, Drole, Monspeet, Derieri, Gloxinia, Galand, Grayroad, Melascula, and Fraudrin. So it's a long list on both sides, but we're going to try to get through it as quick as possible and as efficient as possible. I'm taking a quick pointer from my boy Rob here. Do we think after the battle, is this person going to be able to continue to fight and aid their group in the overall scheme of things? So that's kind of how we're going to do it. We're going to see who we take for the one-on-one and then who continues. So we also know that the Indra form is a huge thing with the Seven Deadly Sins. So we decided that we are going to let the Indra form play out because it is an ability that they have, right? It wouldn't really be right to just handicap them all, right? And we also want to take into consideration, is this person going to use Indra, right? Are they going to risk their demon hearts, right? I believe to use Indra and put themselves in that position. But to give waiver to the Black Clover side, everyone on the Black Clover side is aware of the commandments, aware of the abilities, and are aware of the Indra form. We want all that to be in consideration when we're discussing these debates. Alright, cool. Let's get into it. Off rip, the biggest battle. We have Julius, the Wizard King, versus Meliodas at 10 Commandment level. I'm gonna let you go, Rob. What you got to say about that? What you got to say about that?
What I have to say is this is obviously one of the closest battles in this matchup.
Yeah.
It all comes down to chronostasis. We know that is Julius's ability with time magic. We know he can freeze people in a bubble.
Right.
He has incredible skill. He's a Wizard King.
Right.
But when we look at Meliodas and his abilities, this is magic we're talking about.
It's magic.
Meliodas has the ability to counter magic with full counter. He can also take damage and return it with twice the output with revenge counter.
Exactly.
So these are two things that we also have to consider. We also have to consider the fact that Meliodas is super powerful in his assault mode. He's super durable, and I believe he will end up defeating Julius solely because he can make clones. And because he can make clones, I feel like all he needs is one hit. We saw Julius's durability, and is nowhere near on the level of Meliodas. So Meliodas got hit with a he is nowhere near the level of Meliodas' durability. So I believe if Meliodas can make some clones, and I know the power splits up between them, all he needs is 1 or 2 big time hits on Julius, and he's out. He's down for the count.
Yeah, I agree with you in that sense. I do think at the end of the day, Meliodas will take this W. I don't think it will be an easy W, only because of the specificity of Julius's magic. Because he has precognitive abilities and can kind of like really predict a lot of things that'll happen to him, and not only heal himself, because we can't forget that he can use time magic on himself. I feel like clones may not be the biggest problem. Now, what I feel like would be the biggest problem with Julius is, one, like you said, full counter and revenge counter. I think those would be the biggest problems. And does Julius have that super offensive attack that could at least incapacitate Meliodas? Because we've seen Escanor do it without, you know, having to kill him or stab all his hearts. You know, he used Escanor the 1 and Meliodas was down for the count. But since we haven't seen Julius use his time magic super offensively like that, we've seen him use it super defensively, right? Because he saved the Clover Kingdom. But do we know if he can use that time magic as a final blow? I would give it to Julius if he could do that. But since we haven't seen him attack like that, that's where I don't know if Meliodas will take the cake.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Now, here's the thing though. Will Meliodas be able to continue fighting? Now, I personally think that if Julius has a binding spell, a lower level spell to bind wizards, that he has a stronger version of that spell and can probably put his time magic to bind Meliodas from fighting the rest of the Magic Knights.
You're dragging it.
I'm dragging it?
You're dragging it, and here's why. Okay. You're going off of Julius's fight against Patry. This ain't Patry. We're talking about Meliodas. Meliodas is a different beast compared to who Julius was fighting. And we know that Patry had to use cheese technique. He had to attack the citizens in order to catch Julius off guard. We know what happened. But Meliodas doesn't need to attack anybody to get Julius off guard. He will just go straight for him. I really don't take it more from just like him fighting Patry. I take it more of Julius when he needed to use all his magic. Because I don't think we should sleep on the real power of Julius's Grimoire, right? Oh yeah. It being so big and so powerful. To me, to think that he doesn't have something up his sleeve to stop Meliodas from continuing the fight, I don't know. I feel like if Escanor took him with one shot, I feel like that's very comparable. I feel like all of Julius's magic power and Escanor's the one strike is a comparable neck and neck ability. I feel like Julius would have something to incapacitate or stop Meliodas. I'm saying I don't think Meliodas will continue after he beats Julius. I feel like it'll come down to a close battle. Let's continue with that. We could go with that. I do think he'll catch the W. Right. I believe Meliodas can keep going, but we'll move forward with the premise. Okay, so we got Meliodas, Julius, Meliodas, 1 for 7 deadly. Now let's get to a little bit of more neck and neck battles. I feel like. Okay. Mereleona versus Estarossa. I'm saying it right now. I think this is Mereleona. Of course. I think this is Of course. Mana Zone. Right. Top tier fire magic. She doesn't have to worry about, his commandment at all. No hatred in her, nothing. She's good to go. Right. And if this is Estarossa before he gets commandments, he's getting watched. We saw what Escanor was doing to him, and he was fooling around. He wasn't even in the 1 or anything. Mereleona can also replicate what Escanor is doing to him. Or it can even do more in that stage. She's a beast. Now, the biggest problem, Indra. Do we think Estarossa would use Indra to defeat Mereleona? Do we think Estarossa is going to risk his hearts to fight Mereleona? Or is he just going to be like, you know what, with Escanor, I'm gonna just take that L and sit out? Because he didn't do it with Escanor. He didn't do it, and he could have. What do you think? I don't think he would go down that route. Especially now with Mereleona. Like I said, her mana zone is ridiculous. Her defense is already top tier with her enhanced mana skin. I don't think he would do it. I feel like it's just going to be a very similar outcome to Escanor versus Estarossa.
one crazy fire blast and bro's out of there.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
I take that for Mereleona, 100%.
Absolutely. Can she
will
keep
she
pushing?
keep fighting? That's tough because Estarossa ain't no light work. He ain't no light work.
I'll say she'll be tired after this.
I don't think she's really jumping to, because even when she fought the 5 other elf vice captains in the dungeon area,
right?
She's tired. Even after fighting Veto, like she's showing her limit. She's showing when she really gets like, all right, I can't really just keep fighting all day. Yeah. So I don't think she'll really be ready to go. So I'll take 1 for there. Black Clover, Mereleona, 1 for Meli, and then boom, they can't fight no more. Now, man, in this battle here, we got Yami versus Zeldris. That is serious, and we haven't seen a lot from Zeldris. I still we've seen way more from Yami, right? We've seen the key, we've seen the Equinox slashing. At the end of the day, I think I'd give it to Yami.
You're wrong.
Okay.
You're wrong, and here's why.
All right, yeah.
Yes, Yami has incredible mana zone. But to get an attack like the Equinox off, he needs a lot of time,
That's right.
which he will not have against Zeldris. Also, we forget to mention that Zeldris has Demon King magic in his arsenal. And we got to see just a little demonstration of it when he was fighting Ludacil, who is the top archangel of the goddess clan. He did a crazy attack, and Zeldris sent something back. All the clouds were opening up, the heavens were coming. Like, it was that powerful of a technique. Yami does not have anything in his arsenal right now besides the Equinox to counter that. And right now, I don't think he would have enough time to get Equinox off against Zeldris.
And you're right. With the Demon King's magic, Zeldris would definitely have the advantage there. I don't think he would go Indra either. The question is, does Zeldris keep fighting? Because here's my thing about Yami, right? We have Yami with the mana zone. He just upgraded it even more. You may say the Equinox's ability doesn't have enough time. We just kind of saw him fight Dorothy, and he was getting attacked by clones of himself. Right. So I feel like
you can redo the intro if you want.
Nah, it's fine. Because I'll be having things cut all over. I'm gonna have go over it anyway.
Yeah.
So quick intermission. We back. So now we're gonna try to go down the list here. And I don't really know if all the other captains would have been able to really do that. Break out of Dorothy's,
No, you're right. Yeah, that was impressive by him.
If we take both strongest moves and clash them, yes, Zeldris will take that W, but I don't know if he will still be like, all right, I'm here. Let's keep the battle going.
Because he has Demon King's magic, right? None of the other commandments have that. Like, he was given a special ability from Demon King. He was given extra magic to access to his powers and stuff. We obviously saw Merlin was talking about it. Merlin got hit by it. Merlin got sick and all that stuff. So that was all because of Zeldris having access to the Demon King's magic. I think that he would be able to keep moving.
Zeldris doesn't always use his abilities to the best of what he should, and that's why I don't know if he continue. But we could say that he could continue, but I still don't think he'll be at full strength. I don't think he'll be ready to go. So I'll say
he can keep pushing though.
Okay, so he can keep pushing. So now we're going to keep the ones who can keep pushing till the end of the match. We'll see who's still left.
Okay.
So you keep pushing. Absolutely. So that no one's just jumping anybody, right?
Right.
Next up, we have William Vengeance and Drole. Now this is a good battle.
This is.
I'm not gonna lie.
I have Drole.
Okay.
And I think honestly it just comes down to World Tree Magic being a bad matchup versus the King of the Giants. Listen, Drole has heavy metal, so he can harden the skin. He has the same earth spikes that he can summon outside of the ground, and he also has super strength. This is something where William Vengeance is going to have to do a lot more than just draining his mana to really deal with him. And if he gets hit with a direct attack, that's bad for business for somebody like William. Because we have not seen any top tier defensive moves from him. We have not seen a top tier demonstration of mana skin, any type of close range combat. If Drole gets inside on William Vengeance and he's able to use heavy metal and land a couple big blows, or summon the earth spikes and even change up the trees, because we know the trees are going to be summoned from where? The Earth, right? And his giant magic can also get through that and deal with that. So it's just a bad matchup.
Well, I think it's like you could say it's a bad matchup, but I also think it could also be a bad matchup for Drole because William Vengeance is a kind of distance fighter. We've seen the World Tree magic. We've seen him kind of spout the World Tree magic out the sky. His attacks that are not close combat attacks, his
projectile?
Yeah, his projectile attacks. Again, we seen him, you know, with the World Tree magic when Jack the Ripper even touched the seed, a whole tree bloomed on him. Now, obviously, that's not a huge problem for Drole, but a bunch of seeds, I feel like William could do a good job keeping his distance from Drole. One, because he knows his magic so well. Two, when we seen him kind of do his World Tree Forest emergence, when he was fighting against Jack and Yami, he had that whole area of land pretty much on lock.
Right.
Throwing Jack around. I do feel like, yes, if Drole gets in there, boom, what's William really gonna do again? Nah, I just like this. Put him in the video. It's easier to put him in the video. Alright, cool. So William Vengeance. Man, this and he has seeds flying.
Well, that's my thing, is that Drole has Earth. He has Earth magic.
Right. I don't think he's really taking over his magic. He has it when it comes to Earth magic, but I feel like the World Tree, you know, that's William. Like, that's him. You feel me? I don't think he's really controlling the World Tree.
The Giants are pretty much Earthbenders in Seven Deadly Sins.
But I mean, you know, I kind of look at William's abilities more like, you know, obviously not as strong as Hashirama's, but when you talk about how the first Hokage manipulates wood and like has just such a broad control of an area, I feel like he could keep Drole at bay. Now, I do think Drole, yes, in the long run will catch a W, but I don't think Drole will be ready to fight.
No, Drole will have to go all out here.
Okay.
But I do think Drole would win.
Okay, cool. Now, Fuegoleon and Monspeet. I might have to get that to Fuegoleon. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, Monspeet, we've seen his Indra. I'm gonna just say that right now. We've seen his Indra. But we know he only pulled that out because Derieri and them, they thought this was the battle they wanted to end on.
Jared, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even believe he would need to go there.
Really?
I don't even believe he would need to go there. And that's not a disrespect to Fuegoleon, because Fuegoleon is one of the top Magic Knight captains right now. What this matchup says to me is we have to look at what Monspeet's abilities are. And when we look through it, we know he's one of the top Hellblaze users of the Demon Clan. Now, what is Hellblaze? We know it's the fire of the Demon Clan, it's a fire ability. But one thing that Derieri mentioned when Monspeet was fighting Estarossa was that Monspeet's fire resistance is one of the best of the Demon Clan. So when I look at this matchup and I see that Fuegoleon is one of the top fire Magic Knight captains, it comes again where this is a bad matchup for him.
And I could agree with that, but here's kind of where I counter that. Salamander isn't normal fire magic. He is a spirit. So therefore, I feel like when you talk about spirits and demons, even though they're two different verses, we know the natural combative ability to the demons are spirits, angelic creatures. The salamander flame, you know, always seems to be pushing a boundary. At first we saw a little light work when he first got it. We seen him do some stuff with the elves. But when we saw him really melt down Nozel's Mercury like it was nothing, and we kind of seen him playing a big part in that final clash when the captains were about to go really neck and neck, I don't know if Monspeet's just going to be indestructible against Salamander Flame. It's really who is higher.
I would have to give that to Monspeet, because Monspeet, we've seen his heat even when he sent a giant attack towards Meliodas, right? You know, Derieri encountered Meliodas in the forest. They were boxing for a little bit, and Monspeet sent a fire attack that Meliodas was able to full counter. But that sent Monspeet and Derieri flying. It was that powerful of an attack. Yeah. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that Fuegoleon is not nice. I'm just saying that Monspeet is a better fire user and he has more fire resistance.
I feel like the spirit really is as strong as the user. If we're saying that Fuegoleon can't really bring out that full spirit power, then yeah, Monspeet's gonna eat that. But I don't know, I just feel like we can't count Salamander out. So I'll put Monspeet takes the W, but for me, I'm gonna put Fuegoleon.
Okay.
And we'll just have that. We'll just
Okay.
have that. We'll just look at that later.
Right.
But I don't think Monspeet will really be able to continue. I don't know what you think.
Are we saying the Indra? Because I don't think he would need to even go.
I don't think
that.
he would go Indra. I mean,
So
again, we
Indra
don't
form.
see Indra a lot. Like, we don't really see the commandments really just busting that out willy nilly because they know how vulnerable it makes them. I don't think he's gonna bust that out, but I do feel like he's not gonna be able to continue because if he doesn't bust out Indra before a huge clash comes into play, he's gonna be tired. He's like, I'm not really here to keep fighting no more. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right, next up, Nozel and Derieri. Now here we have, I feel like a better matchup for the Black Clover side. Who you got?
I have Derieri, man.
Really?
I have Derieri, and this is more so. I feel like she would have to go into her Indra form immediately. Like, Nozel is super skilled with Mercury magic, and it's basically freeform magic. I mean, he can shapeshift it, throw projectiles, trap. Trap. Put a shield around himself, protective barriers, cages, all types of things he can make. And this is why I believe that Derieri would have to go into Indra. Once she's in that form, do I think Nozel can hang? My answer is no.
No. But again, Nozel knows about Indra. Nozel is a very intelligent fighter.
He is.
Now we also said they know all abilities, so they know that they have 7 hearts. Now I feel like Nozel's ability is, as versatile and quick as it can be. Hitting 7 hearts really isn't going to be that much of a problem.
You gotta locate them.
You gotta locate them. But I mean,
a lot of these demons can't move them.
But it's like it goes back to what you said, that free form. If you think of it like a comic book, say like a Green Lantern ability. A cage, even when fighting Dark Patry, a cage with all those spikes flying, I feel
are we saying that Nozel is faster than Derieri?
So you gotta think of it like this. For a person who can use magic at the speed of how someone can move, and he doesn't really even have to use as much power as Derieri would have to be like running all over the place to try to keep from getting spiked up and keep from getting trapped. I feel like he's going to have to put in less work in terms of using his offensive abilities than Derieri trying to have to rush him all the time.
Derieri's she's used to fighting light magic. I mean, she's fought against the Goddess Clan. Lucille, light magic. Light magic to me is faster than Mercury. That would make me think that
she could outmaneuver the Mercury.
Right.
And I would go that way, that she could outmaneuver the Mercury, but I would give it to Nozel because he would stop her before going into Indra. That's what I think would happen. I think if Nozel knows about Indra, his main priority would be like, let me just do everything I can to shut this down now. I think I'm going to give it to Nozel before Indra.
You can put down Nozel just because, Nozel is a more intelligent fighter than Derieri.
And that's what I think too, because, Derieri fights with her head. She's always hot-headed, like that's how she do it, and that's why Monspeet's always trying to save her.
Yeah.
And
I can agree.
So I give it to Nozel. Nozel's definitely not gonna have enough to keep going. Even if he stopped her from going to Indra, it's gonna be a tough battle for bro. I don't think he's got what it takes. Dorothy versus Gloxinia.
I say it's Dorothy all the way. I don't think Gloxinia has any answer for Dorothy. Any projectiles he throws at Dorothy, she's sending that straight to the dream world.
Yeah.
Any magic attacks, sending that straight to the dream world. We saw what she was doing in the fight against all the Magic Knight captains in that tournament. And I just like having fun, joking around. And once Gloxinia's in her dream world, how is he getting out?
That's really.
We don't know.
I guess I'm thinking pre-dream world. Yeah, really, you're right. Absolutely. Dorothy is definitely can't be slept on, especially with her own version of Genjutsu. Yeah. Dorothy, I think will take that. Now, Dorothy continuing. I mean, absolutely. Yeah,
keep Dorothy in.
Dorothy's in, and she's continuing. All right, so Jack and Galand. Now, off rip, we don't really gotta worry about the commandment, right? We know Galand's commandment's truth. You lie to him, you turn to stone. Right. Jack is not a lying type of person. I gotta be honest with you. From what Jack showed me, cutting down Fuegoleon's fire blast. Now, Galand was bullying Meliodas before he got his powers back. But as soon as he got his powers back, we saw how Meliodas made light work of Galand. You want to give Jack benefit of the doubt, he was fighting Charlotte and William at the same time.
So he also almost got killed by Elf Longlegs if it weren't for Finral being there. Him and Yami.
Yeah, but I would say that's more an adaptation to Longris's magic being so lethal.
Galand, we know, can boost his strength.
Right.
Not only can he do that, but Jack, if we say that Jack can cut anything, Jack also has to locate Galand's hearts, which I don't think he can. He's gonna have to fight him close range.
I mean, we know he's quick enough. I feel like he's quick enough because from what we've seen, if he knows he's got 7 hearts to slice up, Jack's the type of guy that, I don't know, slice him into bits and pieces.
Let me ask you this then. Do you think Jack could pull off what Galand did in the beginning of season 3 when he fought pretty much all the seven deadly sins and was like, you know, pretty much not everybody was there obviously, but most of them were there, and he took them out. Obviously, Meliodas wasn't boosted at that time. But do you think Jack can pull that off as well? Forcing Merlin to the perfect cube and all that?
He did have Bond looking crazy.
Yeah.
No,
Jack can't pull that off.
I think you're right there. Jack does lack sometimes, even though he is fast, strong. He can get overpowered pretty easily if he's, dealing with a hard enemy. I do think Jack, being a cutting sorcerer, is going to be chopping some limbs off, giving bro a really run for his money. So I don't think Galand's continuing.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay. So we'll give that to Galand. All right, the bottom 3 we have Charlotte and Grayroad. Now Grayroad, from what I remember, he was a serious problem for the Saints. Like Merlin didn't come. I'm pretty sure they weren't gonna know what to do, if my memory serves.
And that's all we need to know. That's all we need to know. Based on what you just told me, if Merlin wasn't there, it would have been a wrap.
Yeah. That was the first commandment they had a problem with. Grayroad, for all of you want to know her ability, pacifist. If you kill in front of her, or I believe kill her, you'll turn to old age. Charlotte would know this. But I mean, as we know now, Charlotte is literally training to even be a serious
Get Charlotte out.
Force.
Get Charlotte out of here.
So it's definitely Grayroad.
Definitely Grayroad. Light work.
Yeah, Grayroad is probably going to be able to keep going.
Yeah.
Grayroad's going to be able to keep going. So we're going to Grayroad. Grayroad's going to be able to go. Sorry, Charlotte. Next time, keep your training up. So we have Rill and Melascula. Melascula's biggest thing is, she can take your soul out your body. Rill would know this. But besides that, I think Rill got it.
Me too.
I think Rill got it.
Me too. Are we including Elf Rill that we saw?
Well, if we're including Rill now, he has a boost from the Elf magic.
Right.
So instead of saying Elf Rill, I'll say post-Elf Rill magic.
The one thing that Melascula has going for her is she can, move her heart around, and especially in the giant snake form, she can move her heart around. That would be tough for Rill to really find it, but she's not really getting inside on, especially if Rill is moving like how he was moving against If we get that Rill, Melascula doesn't have an answer for that.
Yeah. Plus, he's got a boost in magic. I mean, he could pretty much recreate Melascula.
Right.
Draw Melascula.
Yeah.
So I do think Rill's gonna catch SWO, and I do think Rill can keep going. All right, the last battle here: Kaiser versus Fraudrin. I may have to give that to Fraudrin.
Interesting. I was gonna give that to Kaiser.
Really, I think it's very close.
And I don't think Kaiser's that good, by the way.
Yeah,
but that just shows where I believe Fraudrin is.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that great either.
Yeah.
And I believe that Kaiser has a magic advantage when it comes to vortex magic.
Yeah.
Now, will he use it properly? Who knows? But right now, he does have the better magic in my eyes. If he catches Fraudrin in a vortex, makes tornadoes and things of that nature. That's tough for Fraudrin to deal with.
Yeah. Especially with what we see in him doing the L form. Again, that's not him now.
Right.
But again, Fuegoleon, he blocked Salamander's fire. Even though it wasn't full power, he still blocked it. Fuegoleon had to get in under the vortex to actually finish him. And then again, of course, even while getting socked by Fuegoleon in the Magic Knight's face-off, he got up, was able to recreate some more Vortex Magic, and actually his Vortex Magic was a big component to combining all their magic to clash. So I do feel like Fraudrin is strong because obviously, you know, you're fighting Meliodas. Anybody fighting Meliodas is powerful. But again, Fraudrin hasn't shown us any crazy wilds, like he's wiping out the Sins, he's wiping out, you know, even like when I think he fought Gil Thunder and company, they weren't like super struggling, but Meliodas just came and shut that down.
Right.
So yeah, I think Kaiser will be there. Do I think Kaiser will continue? I don't think so.
Me neither. I
think that's going to be a full battle for him. So cool. So now let's look at who we got left. So far, if we tally up the commandment wins, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you take it who's left, you got Zeldris and Grayroad, and you have Dorothy and Rill. Yeah, I mean, even if you do put Zeldris against Rill or Zeldris against Dorothy, he's going to take that. Now, Grayroad against Dorothy.
I think Dorothy can beat Grayroad.
I think so, too. I think the complexity of her magic would be able to stop Grayroad.
She's not Merlin tier, but her magic.
Her binding ability is definitely... Her Dream World, you can compare to a Perfect Cube, I feel like, you know, pretty easily. It looks like Zeldris would be, if you want to say, last man standing with the commandments with more W's. So I guess all in all, we would give that overall win to the commandments in the long run. But mind you, that would be a serious, epic battle. And by no means would it be nothing easy.
But we also have to be mindful that we nerfed the commandments.
We did nerf the commandments. We didn't let everybody. We didn't let everybody Indra all the way out.
Right.
And we did, even though with Indra, give Black Clover the forefront of knowing who they're fighting. Right. Because the commandments are that serious.
Right.
Y'all have been asking, but there you have it from the Shonen Showdown and Anime Sundays ourselves.
Back at it.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. If you guys have some controversy with some of our W's and L's and who would take it, please comment below. We'd love to hear it. And we will see y'all next Sunday.